World leaders are preparing to meet at Davos. They meet once a year, and we should get some big information and announcements from this summit. We also have Brad Garlinghouse is going to be one of the main speakers. Of course, we're going to cover everything that happens on this channel through Davos, and hopefully there'll be some big announcements. There's also some new information coming to light about zero-knowledge proofs on the XRP ledger. This is what institutional adoption is waiting for to be able to use a public chain like the XRP ledger, but also have a layer of privacy where all of their transactions are not shared globally. We're going to get into all of this mix of news, and hopefully you enjoy and you figure out what is going on here with me. Let's go through it. So, here's Brian Armstrong at Davos, just arrived. Talk to world leaders about economic freedom and how crypto can update their financial systems. Continue to push market structure legislation and keep pushing for tokenization to democratize access of capital markets. Let's play this. Hey y'all, I'm here in Davos at the World Economic Forum and just wanted to give you a quick update. 3 main goals for us this week. Number 1, I'm talking to different world leaders about economic freedom and how crypto can update their financial system. Number 2, we're going to continue to work on the market structure legislation and meet with some of the bank CEOs to figure out how we can make this a win-win. This stablecoin should be an opportunity for both banks and crypto companies as long as we're all treated on a level playing field, and of course defer to the Senate and the administration about how to take those discussions forward. Number 3, we're going to talk a lot about tokenization this week and how it's democratizing access to capital markets. There's about 4 billion adults globally that they're unbrokered. They don't have access to any kind of high-quality investments, and this is the engine of wealth creation that everybody should have access to, and crypto is going to help make that happen. So, we'll keep you updated and talk soon, okay? 4 billion people that don't have access to capital markets. You have to go right now, if you want to buy a stock or bond, you have to go through a broker, and a broker will, of course, have certain terms to sign up for an account. Maybe you need a certain amount of money. They're trying to make it easier for everybody anywhere to be able to buy into US markets as well as other markets globally. And this will in fact level the playing field. If somebody doesn't have enough to buy one full share of stock, maybe that stock is like Tesla and it's several hundred, they can then buy a quarter of a share of Tesla or a tenth of a share and start to save that way. Also, if you are in a country where the currency is fluctuating rapidly and it's hard for you to save, now you'll have access to not only stable coins and whatever currency that you want to save in, but also you can start to put money into capital markets. We get into tokenized real estate and what that can unlock for people. And the benefits are just astronomical here. And we know that all of this value, it's like $1.7 quadrillion, will all be moving on chain over the next 2 to 10 years, let's say. I do think real estate will be a little bit slower. But the capital markets here with the stock bond derivatives, I think that will all be very quickly now that we are pushing forward with all of this. So the World Economic Forum begins. Today, Brad will be speaking the Future of Tokenization panel. On the 21st, I will have that entire panel covered here on this channel. We're going to make a video, we're going to go through it. I'm going to give you my feedback. So, make sure that you're subscribed and you have the bell notification turned on. You won't want to miss that interview. And a lot of people are getting very excited. Brad Garlinghouse does have his full page here on the World Economic Forum website, so that'll be really cool. It says, the CEO of Ripple, member of board of directors. Prior to Ripple, Brad served as the CEO of the file collaboration service Hightail. And just a little bit about Brad's past, and of course USA House Davos 2026. This will be a big deal. It's only 30 minutes long. Unfortunately, I'd love to see a little bit longer, but there's going to be other updates from this that I will bring to you. And then heading to Davos, this year's meeting will change everything. Keep an eye on Ripple and XRP. So, this guy is rumored to be an insider with the Bank of Japan. And so, keep an eye on Ripple and XRP. He believes something big is about to be announced. And of course we have Brad Garlinghouse speaking. Ripple is shown as a WEFT partner in the organization. The tokenization panel framing emphasizes on how real-world assets, bonds, and money market funds can be issued and settled on-chain. So Ripple commentary is likely to highlight XRPL's role in institutional tokenization and cross-border settlement rather than retail-focused announcements. Previews on digital asset discussions for 2026 show that the narrative has shifted from if to how, regarding integration of traditional finance with tokenization and stablecoins as core topics, which aligns with Ripple's push around institutional liquidity, and on ledger assets, signals around XRP ETFs and RLUSD. A widely circulated market note claims Davos conversations will touch on Ripple's rumored multi-billion-dollar IPO, the rollout of RLUSD dollar PEC stablecoin for institutional liquidity and early flows into the XRP and spot ETFs coverage of Davos 2026. 6. Will more broadly stress stablecoins and settlement tools and cross-border payment rails. If RLUSD or XRP-based stablecoin corridors are mentioned, it will likely be in the context of interoperability, compliance, and integration with banks and central banks. And of course, the post by UTO. The ex-post you shared comes from the Japanese analyst Utoto, who has previously urged XRP holders to watch Japan-South Korean blockchain collaboration talks and upcoming Japanese regulations around Ripple Pre and Ripple Custody. His this year's meeting will change everything. Keep an eye on Ripple comment appears to be an opinion or tease rather than reference to disclosed or specific announcement. So we'll have to see how that unfolds. And of course, here is Ripple on the same, page as Hydera, MasterCard. You got Microsoft here and a few other companies really leading the way here at Davos. Okay, now we're going to talk to something that's really, really important, right? The biggest thing about public chains will be like, what banks or financial institutions are going to use this because they don't want their transactions to be made public? Well, enter zero-knowledge proofs. This is how you unlock the global institutional level involvement with the XRP ledger without disclosing all of those key details. Check it out. We are getting past the exploration music phase of zero-knowledge technologies. When the XRP ledger was built, these technologies were not even around. Music. So it takes a while. We cannot just use any off-the-shelf solution. It takes a while for us to figure out the specifics of music Zika technology to integrate with XRP ledger. Where we are now in this journey is we are at the music stage of prototyping a zero-knowledge proof. What we are doing is we are taking a music hybrid approach where certain parts of the zero-knowledge proofs will be implemented natively for better performance. Music and others give flexibility to the developers that they can build different applications, different music, proving systems based on their need, based on their requirements within music, this programmability layer. We are way farther in this journey, and soon we'll see some, real-world applications music being built on XP Ledger. In my opinion, zero-knowledge proofs is a very, very powerful tool. When we talk about privacy, people think about 100% music privacy, where everything is hidden. Nobody can ever see that, and that those things music could be used in nefarious ways. However, what blockchains enable is something called programmable privacy. What does that mean? That means that you can get the best of both worlds. While music, you can hide information, but at the same time, you can do selective disclosure, meaning disclose the relevant information to third parties, for example, auditors, for compliance purposes. The concept of selective disclosure, music, is simple. That you do not have to open the entire data, entire information, music, but just expose the necessary parts required for different applications for what are we talking about here. So when you send a payment across the world, every bank that payment needs to go through, right? Well, we're not talking about the new system, we're talking about the old system. Every bank along the way, they needed to know who's sending the money, how much is in the account, all of these really personal details. What if you could prove that you have the money, that you are KYC, you have all of these things without actually giving those people your information? That's what we're talking about here. That this is going to unlock institutional level adoption of the XRP ledger in a massive way that we have never seen before. For example, if you want to enter a music club, you do not necessarily need to tell your age. All that you need to prove music is that you are 18 years above, right? And that's something that programmable privacy provides. You music selectively disclose that you are 18 years above without necessarily telling that you are 22 years music old, for example. Interoperability is a really hard problem. We haven't been able to solve it. It's fraught with technical music challenges, and the biggest one being the challenge of trust. Like bridges, require trust in third parties, in entities, in federators, in centralized entities. Music, what zero-knowledge proofs provide is trustlessness. It provides verifiability. So you do not have to trust a third music party. Instead, what you trust in is cryptography. Scalability is tricky. It's multidimensional. When we cannot do everything on the native music layer. How zero-knowledge proofs help us scale is by offloading computations. So you can offload computations music to layer 2. Alright, there was like a 6-minute clip, but I didn't think you needed to see the full 6-minute clip. Zero-knowledge proofs on the XRP ledger are being designed as a privacy layer that lets institutions transact issue and use tokenized assets confidentially with still providing compliant solvency and correct accounting to regulators and auditors beyond zero-knowledge proofs. The XRP ledger's native tokenization compliance first features, settlement performance, and interoperability roadmap make it stand out as a purpose-built for institutional finance on-chain versus more general-purpose L1s, confidential multi-purpose tokens. When you combine these two things, encrypt balances and transfer amounts while keeping the total supply and rules verifiable. So, institutions can move real-world assets, stablecoins, or funds without exposing their trade sizes or flows to counterparties or the public. So, if a big institution is making a move in the market, the last thing that they want to do is tell their competitors that this is what they are doing. And this has been another reason why institutions have not wanted to use Layer 1 public chains, because that information would be public, and then their trade might not go as well, right? It's all about having the edge, and this would be able to protect their edge with still using the liquidity, the transferability, and the unmatched security of the XRP ledger. This matches real-world needs, like hiding corporate payroll, treasury moves, and client positions from competitors while still using public and auditable chains. Zero-knowledge proofs let parties prove a KYC AML checks, whitelist members, and creditworthiness without revealing all underlying personal data or full transaction history, supporting selective disclosures or different regulators, auditors, or counterparties. Auditors can verify reserves, collateral, and balance sheet claims using zero-knowledge proofs without full wallet transparency, aligning on-chain finance with traditional audit expectations. So, this is a very, very big deal. A lot of things are moving forward on the XRP ledger, and this is one of the things I am most excited about. And of course, JD Nomak says big institutions won't use public blockchains if every detail is fully exposed. Not out of secrecy, but because real-world finance can't show balances, counterparties, and internal flows. The XRP ledger is exploring selective privacy, ways to prove rules are followed without exposing sensitive data, which is what makes institutional use possible. And so, it's highlighting a comment here from Veti. This is actually from 2024, so you can see how important this one's even from years ago. This a year and a half ago, they've been working through all of this. And then Jungle Inc. says, flying on all cylinders despite a dip in weekly ETF flows, 38 million, Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse is looking past the noise with a bold 2026 vision. Why the outlook is bullish, global licensing, secured UK EMI license, plus Luxembourg preliminary approval, strategic growth dominating with Hidden Road and G Treasury acquisitions, whale activity, on-chain interests hitting 3-month high, and then utility first prioritizing XRP USD over hyped markets. Even CZ agrees. The XRP army is strong. That is you. Awesome. This infrastructure is built. The legacy system is being transformed. 2026 is looking consequential. Man, there is no greater community in the crypto space than the XRP Ledger community. Thank you so much for your support on this channel. If you guys got any value from this content, you can leave a message below. You can hit like, or you can share this with a friend. Either way, thank you for your time. I hope you are learning, you're growing, and you are having fun doing it. Feels like we are getting over ever so closer day by day, and it's just an honor to be on this journey with you. I'll see you in the next one.